Mhm.
Yes. Yomni? Is that how you say your name?
Thank you, Yeomni.
Yomni. Yomni. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm spectacular. Spectacular. Very happy we finally was able to connect. Um, yeah. At first, I was thinking, I don't know if it's going to happen because I know you've been busy. You've had a few things which where we've had to change the times around. But then I was getting concerned. I was like, she's a busy lady. I might not get a chance to speak to her. But it's great. I'm very happy we're connecting today. So you are a human rights activist for North Korea.
Mhm.
You're also the author of a new book, right? Order to Live. I see you speaking about that quite a lot now, lots of reposts and everything. So congratulations for that. And you're also a TED speaker. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. How long has your book been out?
Oh, it's keep coming out in the new languages,
Oh, okay.
but the ones that came in the US was like several years ago. But it's keep
Oh, right.
translating to other languages. That's why it's feels like a bit.
Oh, right, right. I need to get myself a copy. Do you have an audio version at all?
Yeah, I think it has an audible.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
I'm getting on it. Yeah, if I knew, I probably would have got it before us talking today. In all fairness, so wow, where do we start? North Korea. North Korea is one of those places that I'd never understood much about.
Mm,
I've only heard, oh yeah, you don't want to go there.
yeah.
No, like I don't know, it just sound like something that you'd only hear in horror movies. you
Mm,
know um and I'm still confused by a lot of things. Let's start with the introduction of yourself. So you're from North Korea, and I understand you actually ran away from North Korea when you was as young as 13 years old. Is that right?
yeah, that's when I escaped. Mm,
You escaped.
yeah.
Escaped at 13. All right, let's rewind back. Let's bring it back to
Mm.
when you was in North Korea. Could you take me through what life was like there, which brought you to the point where you were like, "That's it, I'm out," and ran away.
Why would just like mere hunger, starvation? Like, if I stayed there longer, I would die if I don't eat, right? I think hunger means just hunger in the West, but hunger means death in North Korea. So main cause of death for people is starvation. So if I stayed longer, I there was no way I could find more food, and that just drive me to risk my life and to escape to from North Korea.
Wow. So, i- is there a drought in North Korea for food?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course it has like flooding, droughts, but not that's not it. Like it's completely man-made famine. So the leadership in the regime decide to make us starved because I don't know if you read the book Hunger Games. Uh,
Heard of it? I still ain't
yeah,
heard.
so it is very like so they thought they make a country and put up a wire fences all around the country. So the entire country is a prison camp, blocking outside information and making no freedom of movement to the people so people cannot travel outside the world. So they don't know anything what's happening in the world. I never even seen the map of the world. In that situation, if they keep giving us food, right? Humans are like ultimately thinking about the meaning of life. They are trying to, thinking beyond what daily life is. So regime thought, okay, if we make them starved, they're not gonna thinking about what's politics, what is philosophy, what is life. All they're going to think about all day long, 24/7 is going to be what is food? Can I get food next to me or not? So they made on purpose making us starve. So even in the 90s when millions and millions of dying in the like 20 years ago, the regime like said no to the aids and help coming from the international community because they didn't want us to be fed. So that's why North Koreans are starving, not like it's like in some parts of in Africa, Haiti, like earthquake, a lot of natural disasters making it hard for the people. But in North Korea, it's completely man-made.
Wow, wow. It just sounds crazy. Like just the whole idea that, okay, I'm going to starve these people so that they can't think.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
That's insane.
What? Yeah, but it's for me it's insane that people think world is always like this just and free because the whole world that I experienced was very unjust and
Yeah.
evil and oppression. So when I came to here and like looking at people how they don't ever worrying about food, it's like because that's just something I worried about since my birth, all day long worrying about food. So it's almost like we are in a different like planet. That's how like literally I felt.
So what was your parents doing in terms of work and bringing in money? What sort of work were they doing, and
So
what sort of class was you in, would you say?
right, so North Korea has mainly three classes, and then they are dividing into 50 different classes within three classes. So very complicated status, and even though it's like socialist country, like it's the most unequal country you can find in the world right now. So I mean, basically, I think I was born somewhere in the middle, and the problem is that in North Korea, it's like central governed economy. Therefore, like selling, buying things is illegal. Like if you go buy your sunglasses, that's illegal. If you're selling, it's illegal because it's a central governed economy. Everything has to be provided by through the public ration by the regime. But in the 90s, regime just stopped giving us food. So, I mean, if you cannot sell and trade, people gonna die if no one gives you food. So that's why millions of died in the 90s when I was born. Once North Korean people went through that, they started illegally trading in the black markets. But black markets doesn't mean like selling drugs or weapons. In North Korea, market means like selling candies, selling rice and clothes.
Wow.
That was illegal. So my father started engaging in the black market business, which he was selling clocks, rice, sugar, dried fish. Then later he sold the metals like silver, copper, and it was a crime. So that's why he was sent to prison camp for more than 10 years for that.
Really? For
Yeah.
selling rice, metal?
Yeah.
I had a friend who went to prison for manslaughter,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
he got about that long. Manslaughter.
Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, like in North Korea, like actual murders, like the dictator doesn't go to prison, but the people who is doing their best to survive and keep their life, their children fed, those ones are dying in the prison camps.
So explain what happens to those who are doing murders. What, did they get executed instead or something?
Well, murders, even the rape is like something never even people think as a crime in North Korea. That's like what's the shocking the most thing is. And if they get murders, like they sometimes they serve like 5, 10 years, like very light sentence. But if you like let's say like there's a newspaper and like there's a front page, it was like Kim's photo, and you did not see the front page, you ripped it by mistake, that gets you executed, including 3 generations of your life with your family. That's the thing, it's called like guilt by association. So anyone that is associated to me up to 3 to 8 generation gets punished together with me. And that's how God they get rid of any seed of like rebellion.
Any seed of
Yeah.
wow, wow. Why is North Korea and South Korea so different? Like, what's happened there?
That's a great question. So South Korea chose the path of like America, like the dividing the power. checks and balances, and they chose free market and democracy and capitalism. North Korea chose communism and later socialism, and chose what they are, like the ideology was very different. So South Korea and North Korea were the poorest countries in the world in human history, and South Korea now like 11th largest economy in the whole world with that tiny country. But look at the North Korea, the exact same people, exact same potential. They chose different system, which is one is socialism, one is like capitalism. So the system is what making people different. People keep thinking like, was that luck? No, like the system makes the our like destiny. I think so. It's like biggest like experiment we had, which system works better.
Mm. And this
And,
was selected by the people themselves in the country.
no, so in the so North Korea was supported by Soviet Union, Stalin, and China, Mao Zedong, the all like communist like countries back then. And there was a Cold War, and South Korea was supported by the U.S. and the Western European countries. So when North Korea was starting a Korean War to invade South Korea, the U.S. and the UN came help. So they preserved freedom in the South from South Koreans, and the Russians and Chinese came and fought for North Korean like capitalism. I mean socialist like ideology. So Korea was kind of in the battleground for this like Cold War happen, where there's like between the capitalism and socialism was fighting, and Korea was in the middle of it. So these countries, foreign powers came and preserving what they believed. And thankfully, like America was able to keep the half of Korea safe from the communists. And of course, Chinese and Russians came and kept the half of Korea like communist. So now that's why we see two different ideology coexist in the same peninsula.
That's amazing and insane at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. And who is this guy, this Kim Jong-Un dude?
Mm.
Like he's a dictator, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, obviously
Yeah,
his father, who was so his grandfather was initially sponsored by Stalin and Mao Zedong. So they placed him to be in charge of the North Korea's Communist Party in the like 40s. So he gave power to his son Kim Jong Il, and his son gave a power to his son Kim Jong Un. So third generation, three generation of Kims are ruling the same country for 75 years with one family kingdom. It's not even like people think North Korea is a country, and there's a reason why we call it Hermit Kingdom. It's run by three like crazy, family, Kim family.
and what were the other rulers like? You know, his father and his father. What were they?
Previous two Kims,
Yeah,
horrible.
right.
This was absolute like disaster. Every single one of them were murderers. They killed more people than anyone can imagine. They killed like millions of people. During the Korean War, they killed more than, the first Kim during the Korean War at least killed more than 3 million people. The second Kim during the famine, man-made famine, killed more than 3 million people. And now the sons still like continue to kill people. Therefore, like thinking about even World War, like actually Mao killed more people than the Hitler did. Like Mao killed Mao Zedong in China, killed the most people in human history than Stalin and the Kims. So we are talking about like modern day Hitler in North Korea right now.
Mm, mm. Wow. Um, how old is he? He's like 37 or something.
He should be younger than that.
Oh
So
yeah?
he took power when he was 25. So it's now like I know he was a young boy, 25. It was 2011. So now it's like 9, 10 years. So it should be like 35, something like that.
35. Oh,
Five,
okay.
yeah.
So is there no vote from the people to say, yeah, do you know what? We don't want another Kim. Is it like no one has any say?
Well, if you do that, like you are gonna get killed. You with 8 generations of your family. 8 generations. Think about it. Like there's a one high-ranking official escaped, And because of one person's dissertation, like a rebellion, more than 30 something thousand people got killed. And a lot of them didn't even know that they were related to that guy.
Oh my God.
That's the thing, like they were like cousins of cousins, like in-laws of something, 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 something. And how the heck do you like trace a generation? So when they were getting killed, like, did I relate to him? Like they didn't even know. They were like, I did not know. And of course, there's no mercy. They just kill them all.
What's the what's the gun control there like? Do people sell guns on the black market or anything like that, or is it completely
But
clean?
if that's the case, right? If the people had guns in their hands, they would not be like this. They would be fighting back.
Hmm.
But of course, the regime makes absolute control on the guns. So
Hmm.
nobody has a gun in North Korea. So
Hmm.
it's being assassinating these leaders is impossible because nobody has a weapon in their hands.
Hmm.
Oh, one has it in the
Right.
news.
Right. Right. Um, I read somewhere that there's no internet there. Is that right? Or it used to be the case? Is it something different now? Or
But I mean, not to even mention internet. Like, yeah, of course, North Koreans don't even know the existence of internet. That's the difference. And also, they don't even have electricity in 21st century. Yes,
well, wait. No, no,
yeah,
no.
exactly.
They don't wait, no. That doesn't no wait. Are you saying they don't have electricity in their house?
Yeah, we only get to see them once or two times a year for several minutes. And people don't take advantage of any modernity. Like, there's no running water. People still go bathe in the river in freezing North Korea. So in the winter time, we just bathe once. I never even seen the shower. Like, we don't even know a shower. Their life, think about their life like now, like in the 15th, 16th centuries. People don't know what electricity, I mean, they don't have any advantage of electricity, and they don't have running water. No sewage is that working. No food is working, and transportation is not provided. So people walking into it. So like there's no like bus, or I mean train. There's one train is running, but in order to go a distance like that takes like 10 minutes for us with the car. It takes like 2 weeks to go. And even that, people don't have a permit, they cannot go. So they don't even like have a freedom of movement. Therefore, like there is no such a thing like allowed sleepovers. Like I was shocked when I came. Kids just can go like to their friend's house and sleep over. In North Korea, every single thing has to be checked by the regime. So if you're gonna move to sleep somebody's houses, you gotta get a confirmation and approve from the regime. That's how they like control every single move, and that's why they even control what kind of haircut you can have. Right? That's like a main thing for the Westerners. Like everybody in North Korea has to have like a haircut that Kim Jong-un has, and yes, like everybody's haircut. What you wear, what you sing, what you listen, what you watch. So if you watch a wrong movie, they're gonna get execute you. If you listen to wrong music, you're gonna send to prison. So, and if you wear jeans, you're gonna send to prison. So
Jeans.
yeah, because it's a jeans, somehow they think of it as a symbol of capitalism. So they send you to prison for that. Literally, every single thing can get you life there.
I'm 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 lost for words.
Yeah.
Um, what are the schools there like? I mean, you don't have electricity, so uh, okay, yeah. What's the education there like? What do you learn about? Like, what type of? I'm thinking about what are the jobs that people do there? If everybody's poor, like, okay, let's start with the school. Tell me about the schools. Well, yeah.
Scholars like I mean Kim Jong-un himself went to school in Switzerland. So obviously elite people do have opportunity in North Korea. They go to school in Britain, in Moscow, in China, like European countries. But I'm talking about the poor, like average like 90% of the population. Like I went to school, but the things like I learn is, they teach us basic math, but the all everything's propaganda. They literally teach us like there are foreign ambassadors. We killed two of them. How many American left to care? Then you said like two American bastards. And that's like how they teach you math, literally. And they teach you grammar. They say you killed Americans, you are killing Americans, you will kill Americans. That's like grammar math. Yeah. So
Wow.
every single thing they teach in school is propaganda. So they don't teach us the Big Bang or how evolution happened. Instead, they teach us how the Kim Il Sung was chosen by this universe and how he can make miracles. So it's like a entire brainwashing of a population and kill their like critical thinking very early on. People do not even know what critical thinking is. And then most people, you don't choose your job in North Korea. Like when you are born there, you don't choose what you do with your own body or like with your life. They tell you what school go to, and once you graduate school, every North Korean man have to go to military service and women. And because of the malnutrition, North Korea got a growth stunt. Tons of North Korean men are like only 5 feet now. And if you're above 4 feet 3 or something, you gotta go to military. Like 4 feet 3 or 8 is like a child height. And you go to military and serve. It used to be only 10 years, but now like 13 years for men. So every single man in North Korea go to military, serve in 13 years. For women, I think 8 or 10 years right now. So every single girl have to go to military and serve in the military. But of course, in military they don't feed you, so you mostly gonna die there.
They
So
don't.
you are serving for the nation, they don't feed you. So most of young population were spending their 10 years of life in the military, all of them. And once the ones that's like lucky to get out, then they don't choose what they do with their life or becoming a consultant or whatever it is. It doesn't happen. The regime tells them you go to the mining, you go to like collective farm, you do this, and they decide your entire life for you. I mean, that is what socialism is. Government's providing everything to you, right?
Yeah.
Like they take care of healthcare, I mean, education, all of it. So basically, that's what the regime does. Like they decide every single thing about like every individual life there.
So, what type of jobs is there? What sort of jobs would the regime give you typically?
Basically, I mean, depending on your status, but like very small elite, like only 2,000 people are running the whole country, like running 25 millions of people. So most of 99% of the people, their jobs are usually sent to collective farms. So that means you are the farmer, but you don't keep the harvest because the collective farm is owned by the state. So in North Korea, there's no private property. Therefore, you don't own your houses, you don't own your cars, you don't own your cows, even though animal cow. So nothing is owned by the people. Everything is owned by the state. So when they go working in the farm, in the land, the harvest goes to the regime because it's not their land. So they just regime using the free labor all day long. This don't pay us, just make us like dying and get killed and just it's a real like they're slaves. Exactly. Like just
Mhm.
we got 25 slaves and supporting the one dictator who thinks he's a god.
So, with military not really getting fed,
Yeah.
aren't they concerned? What if there was to be some sort of war that was to break out and they needed, you know, soldiers to be strong? Is there no concern of that?
Right, so that is the thing about North Korea. So North Korea, given their size and like they got the policy economy in the world right now, but they got the fourth largest army in the whole world. Like I think China, Russia, the U.S. and North Korea is the fourth largest military in the whole world. And you can see how crazy regime is because that's what he does. Kim Jong Un spends all his money for his like luxury and building of nukes for military for keeping his maintain his system. So even though militaries are not fair, the thing is that North Korea is not like Middle East or Africa. There is no conflicts. There's nobody trying to get North Korean region go. Like nobody to attack them. Like in Middle East, like Israel, like Iran, all other countries, they have enemies. They gotta fight. They gotta get ready for the war. But North Korea, they've got no enemy. Like next to them, China, very stable. Other countries, Russia, of course, they got all their own problems. They are very busy internally. And then, like, Japan, they don't want to attack other countries. South Korea, democracy. So they got no enemy outside them, like their land. It's all like the regime's propaganda saying we got enemies, we gotta like defend our territory. So therefore, it's even if it's like that is another way for the regime to keep maintaining the population control because they go to military, being drafted in the military, they're not going to start again. I mean, gather again and try to start revolution, right? They are in the military for their prime age. So regime that way, just like they drag them to the military and like a lot of them get killed and make them just dumber. Though these young people even more brainwashing them for another 10 years or a decade and send them back to the nation afterwards and make them like farmers and miners going to coal mining. Those are like main things. Yeah.
Right, right, right. What is what's a typical wage? What's like a high end wage and what's like a bottom end wage?
Yeah.
Let's start with the bottom and then we'll move to
Bar
the top.
is not even like calculable so low, but highest wage for the medical doctor is $1 per month. And prices,
What? A month?
yeah.
Oh my God.
So they cannot survive in one day with their salary. A doctor cannot survive one day with their salary. So imagine what a farmer or like the just worker might get. Because that's a government salary. That's why it's North Korea is one of the most, I mean, it is the most corrupt country in the world right now. Because regime supposedly provide you and they don't have the economy where people can work and get paid well. So even doctors, they have to be corrupt. So if they don't receive bribe, they are not going to do operation on you. And then, so every single one of North Koreans have to break the law and be corrupt to survive. And yeah, so that's why like there's impossible to survive in North Korea just getting the salary from the government. They gotta they gotta do something else. Like they gotta go to market like my father did, like selling things illegally, or like being a doctor and don't operate on people unless you receive like bribery. If
Mm.
you're a policeman, you gotta catch people and beating them, torture them and get money from them. Like the way of surviving for North Koreans is corruption right now.
Whew. So you managed to escape
Mm.
at 13.
Yeah,
That's a big deal. Like, are there
yeah.
many people that managed to escape? I mean, you was 13. Like what did you do differently to? I'm sure many others. What I'm just questioning if they don't know what is going on is wrong. You ran away because of hunger. Was it necessarily because you felt it was wrong? Is that right? Or did you? What
It's
was
not like you feel wrong when you're hungry, like you feel like dying, right? You get dizzy and like malnutrition is a weird thing. So luckily I was living in the border town of North Korea when I was 13.
okay?
So at nighttime, of course, as I said, like if you like literally can go up like to the satellite photos of North Korea, it is the darkest place on earth. Literally, because there's no lights at night. And I was seeing this light bulbs lit up in China and seeing the lights coming from China at night because North is so dark. And that's when I thought maybe if I go where the lights were, I might be find a bowl of rice. So it wasn't something in my mind, even thinking, am I escaping? Am I like, defecting or like something is wrong? It's just pure out of survivor. Before you die, you do the last attempt you can, right? Like
Hmm.
it's like if you're in a burning apartment, right? Like you have the doors, everything all burned down, you cannot get out there. You're gonna try to jump out of a window and see what happens. That's the last thing you can do before you burn to death. And that's exactly what we did. Like if I would stay there, I would die just from starvation. Like matter of hours, people die if you don't eat like for 3 days. And for the body that wasn't fed all their life, if you don't eat for 3 days, you can die sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes can survive in even 7, 10 days usually. But the thing is, like, if Americans go hunger mode, they can last a lot longer because they have a lot of reserves, right?
I love what you said there.
Yeah. So it's a different thing. When North Koreans go hungry, they can literally die from
Yeah.
it. And I think that's why I risked my life to cross that frozen river and to go to China to see, if there was food for me or not.
Yeah. So did you go by yourself, or did your mum and dad go with you at the time?
Initially, I crossed the frozen river to China with my mom,
Mhm.
but of course, when we got to China, we were sold as human slaves, like sexual slaves to Chinese men. So they sold me separately from me to my mom, like separately.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like a slavery happening still right now with the North Koreans. I was 13 years old and I was virgin, so they sold me over $20. And my mom was a bit older, so they sold her like $65 in 2007. In this 21st century, and right now, even at this point we are talking, if you go to Chinese Google like Baidu and search North Korean girls to buy like toys, like almost Amazon, you get them at your door, like few days or hours. And like some just $900 you can get a girl from North Korea. And this is the world that we are living in right now.
Yeah. The undercover world.
Mm.
So, okay, how did you manage to get out of that?
Well, after 2 years of slavery, I learned that if I escape China again, then I go to South Korea, I might be free. So literally, how do we get out of China, right? North Korea don't have ID, don't have money. We cannot get on like airplane and like, take airplane to go somewhere. So
Yeah.
we literally crossed the frozen Gobi Desert by walking in 2009. When I was 15, we crossed the frozen Gobi Desert from China to Mongolia. And once we got to Mongolia, we got caught by Mongolian guards, and I asked them for the going to South Korea. So several months in the detention center, they helped me to go to South Korea afterwards.
Right. Where was your dad during this time?
My father passed away by then. He had a lot of torture. In so when I was in China, I brought my father from North Korea to China, and a few months later he passed away there. So,
Right.
and I found my mom back after I was sold separately. That's why I wrote a book. It's a long story. I found my mom, and with her, I crossed the desert, and then became free.
Right. So is your mum with you now in where are you? You in the States?
I'm in Chicago, and
Chicago.
my mom is in South Korea right now.
Oh, she's in South Korea. Okay. Right.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Mm.
Hmm. Um, wow. Wow. This is amazing. Um, so man, I'm still shocked. Like the electricity alone is like there's no electricity. So you don't have any electrical goods at all, I take it.
But I mean, like the thing is, we do have electricity few times a year because the regime wants to broadcast the propaganda things to us, right? They gotta
Right.
like reach people to propaganda, like brainwash us.
But in
So
your homes, in your home that you live in, do you not have anything which is made from electric? Do you not have any light bulbs to switch a light on?
we have a light bulbs, but we don't have a switch because the lights don't come. So we have a something called transformer.
Right.
So when the regime gives the electricity, it's not like high enough for the people to be visible. So you
Right.
need to use a transformer to gather more electricity and turn off the like light bulb. But the thing is that doesn't last that many times. So a lot of families do have transformer, and we do have light bulbs, but only we use it a few times a year. So
Right.
people like really like it's like the concept of when you enter the room and turn the lights is that that's like something a very new concept to North Koreans. Like I didn't even know, like looking at the switch, like what the heck is that when I escaped. And people, yeah, I mean they do have few times of a year, but that's only like when we have to watch something by the regime, like be brainwashed afterwards.
Oh my God. Oh man. Um, wow. What other type of restrictions would you say are in North Korea?
So many everything. Like I don't know. I rather think about what is allowed than like what is not allowed, because there are like a billion things is not allowed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like I think we are allowed to breathe. I think
For the
what
moment.
are we allowed to breathe? I mean, yeah, for the moment. And other than that, we are not allowed anything else. Like we are not allowed to say things. Like there's no freedom of speech. So like the first thing my mom told me as a younger was not to even whisper, because the birds and mice could hear me. And as a younger, the first thing you learn is, okay, if I say something wrong, like I get killed and all my family get killed. That's a very same terror every single North Korean understands. So that is the extent that you go when there's no freedom of speech. Like people go that far to oppress others and not allowing others to have any opinion. So North Korea is a almost testament to the direction that if the humanity takes to go like limiting freedom of speech and human freedom, that's how far we can go. Like right now in North Korea, not the concentration camps, but just normal border has been sealed with a highly electrified wire fences. While the population cannot even get the electricity, the entire North border got the electricity going on. And then that wasn't even enough. The regime buried the landmines in the border. And then on top of that, they put the machine guns. So that Kim Jong-un ordered the guards that do not even let single ant across the border between North Korea and China. So therefore, right now, only 209 North Korean defectors made it to America during the 75 years. So, I mean, like that's talking about escape. Like, there's no mathematical chances of me making this far. And that's why most people don't see that many North Koreans in their lifetime. Like, I'm sure, like, I'm the first North Korean you ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of
Yeah.
them like that because not they don't exist.
It's like, what? Yeah, exactly. I came across a video with you. I think it was oh, what is his name?
Yeah, but
Pat
they.
yeah, Patrick Bet David.
Mm,
And I only watched a little bit of it, and then I went to your YouTube channel,
mm.
and I was like, this is unreal. This is like sci-fi. This can't be real. um, yeah. Oh man. What is? How do you get your information about what's going on there? Do you have someone that you can communicate with somehow? Or,
So
yeah.
yeah, there's no internet. North Koreans get like literally get executed for making international phone calls. So their phones cannot make international. Like you cannot write to North Korea. You cannot mail something to North Korea right now. Like everything is blocked. So we have to get underground
Right.
agent. So that's how I get informed and get a lot of work done through the people we have underground. But of course, we cannot disclose who they are.
Yeah, yeah. Please don't, because I don't want to be involved. I don't need anyone trying to search for me. He knows too much information as well. That's amazing. That's so amazing. What about the COVID situation? Do you know if it somehow went there? Or is that completely clean because no one leaves and nobody goes in there? What's the situation?
And every time you get it, you get executed, and that's how they keep it zero.
Oh, wow. You got
Yes,
COVID, yeah? COVID. No, no, no. I just got a basic cough.
yeah, exactly.
Sounds
So
like COVID to me, my friend. You got to die. That's insane, really.
yeah,
So, how are the tests being done? Were they going to people's
that,
houses and testing them?
that is
Or?
that's the thing. Like they don't even have the facility to test them, right? And they don't even have like electricity. How they can on earth have the lab to like, like get this like samples and get a result out? Of course, they are not gonna be able to do that. So, if they see somebody has a fever and cough and North Korea, everybody's body is being watched by the authority. So if someone has a signs of like, looks like COVID, they get like sent to, they get executed or sent to this like detention center where they're left to die inside alone. Or sometimes it's like if somebody family got sick, they like literally like block the door, like nail the door so no one can get out and just die inside there. Yeah, so the thing is like, what if they got flu, right? It's
Mm.
totally possible, but they don't know. That's why so many people innocently dying.
What did you say about the hospitals? Did you mention anything about the hospitals? Like, what are they like?
Hospitals, like, right, so they don't even have x-ray machines. As I said, like doctors have to get bribes to do anything. So when I went into hospital right before my escape, I had a really bad stomach ache, and they took me to hospital. And of course people like lying on the floors and all the stains of bed covers. The nurse literally using one needle to inject everybody.
Oh, wow. For
Yeah,
sharing the needle between what, just like washing it off or not washing it off?
not even washing it off, like they don't even
Ooh.
have that. And they don't like have even alcohol swipes, right? They just don't use even any disinfection. And of course like people die from infection than like disease. Like we don't have time for like cancer to kill us. Before cancer get to us, we die from starvation, infection, and like fever. So, and of course my mom had to bribe the doctor, and he literally just rubbed my belly, like not even like machine looking at it, just rubbed my belly. He said like maybe she got some appendix, and they asked my mom to buy penicillin and everything, like you have to buy in the black market, otherwise you just die. And then they operated on me without any anesthesia.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but they are cutting bones, they are cutting people without any anesthesia. That's what I'm saying. It's like 16, 14 centuries of humanity. Think about it. Like people go bathe in the river, like cutting people without anesthesia, like no needles. Just it's a most barbaric. I mean, people. Whenever I meet people in the West, like thinking of, oh, those older days we had nature, people were connected. I said, you have no clue what 16th, 15th century looked like. People have cavity, like you don't even know how to pull your teeth out. People die. I mean, North Koreans get married very early because most of us die before 60 years old.
Right.
Like when someone make it to 60, we think, oh my God, you lived a very, very long time.
Right.
And then here I come, like 60 is like very young. So people like just they don't understand how bad things are back in our days.
It's mad. I've heard you mention about the rice for food. What
Mm.
other do you guys eat protein there? Like I mean like things like beef, steak, fish, lamb,
Oh my
anything
God.
like that? Or is that like, oh my God, that's luxury? No, like talk
If
to
you
me.
eat beef, you get executed in North Korea. As
Is
I
it
said, in the farms there is no machines to farm, right? So humans and cows gotta work, and cows owned by the state, not us humans. So if someone kills cow and sells the beef and eat it, you're gonna get executed. Like literally, one of the public execution that my mom saw was a young man who was very hungry. He had a TB, the malnutrition and TB, and he killed a cow and ate the cow, and then they killed him. So human life in North Korea is less valuable than cow. Like that's how they do not value human rights and human life.
what
So
about yeah, sorry, please.
no, so those food is unthinkable. And when we say rice, it's because it's such a fancy food. Most of North Koreans eat like tree bars. Like I ate tons of grasshoppers. That was like my source of protein. That's the only thing I could get. Dragonflies. A lot of bugs, plants, flowers, and tree barks. And then, if we are very fancy, we're gonna get a cabbage and the rice. But rice is everybody North Korean's dream. Like I came into America, people say rice got too much, carbs, don't eat the rice. Like, what the heck are you talking about? This
Yeah.
is like what I escaped for. This is what I risked my life for.
Yeah. It must be, obviously now you've adapted to your new life living in Chicago,
Hmm.
but starting off with it must have been really, really weird. I mean, your life was completely different. I mean, even myself, when I lived with my dad, we lived in poverty, but it's probably like, oh my God, you had luxury. What do you mean poverty? And I remember when I grew up, and I think one of my first jobs, I was working in a restaurant and clearing tables and stuff like that. And when it came to the evening, all the food will be thrown away in the bin. Tasty food. And when I watched that, I was like, why is this being thrown away? I can take it home. Please let me take it home. They're like, no, you're not allowed. If you try and take it home, you will be dismissed. You can't work here anymore. I thought, this is insane. So I could imagine you seeing something like that. You probably have a heart attack. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
That's like I went to South Korea after China and Mongolia. And one day with my mom and I was walking in front of a building and there was a trash like dump inside. And oh my gosh, yes, so many wonderful things in the trash inside. Like there's like normal like bowls, clothes, like mattresses. So my mom and I were picking up stuff in the trash bin for a while. Like we couldn't understand, comprehend why people throwing things away. But now I'm like throwing away this in a plastic bottle. In North Korea, if you got this bottle, you're gonna use it throughout generation into generation. North Korea, we don't even know what trash can is. Like we have nothing to throw away. Even
seriously.
like our falling hair, like we don't have, as I said, a gas or electricity. We gotta like a fear. We gotta burn something to cook the meal.
Yeah.
So we gotta burn everything. So, like I never even knew what they had a vocabulary for trash cans. And going to South Korea, their problem is generating too much trash. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is gotta be like in my dream. Yeah, that's like I felt like so many days like of my afterwards, like everything felt like dream. It was
Mm.
like this cannot be real. And I thought like keep thinking like what if I wake up from this dream? I keep pinching myself. Like is this real? Like people say if I feel pain, like this is gotta be not a like dream. And like pinching myself for many, many years and then realize maybe if it's dream, I'm never gonna wake up and that's perfect dream then. Keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm I'm just I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed. What else? I'm just trying to think. What else? What else? So the schools, the um so people get married early, you said? Is that right?
Yeah.
Um I, I know like when you go to certain Middle East countries,
Mm.
um there's there's a certain difference when it becomes to when it comes to men and women. Are there any differences there with regards to how women are treated and men are treated?
Oh yeah, North Korea even have a saying that like man is the sky and the women are the ground. So our status difference can never be met. That's how different we are. Like sky cannot never meet ground, right? So, like yeah, like is most of women get beaten by their husband, their brothers, their fathers. And when I was young, like even eating in the same table we do like men wasn't allowed in a lot of families. Like fathers, you cannot start eating until father starts eating, and you cannot be done eating until they like don't put down their spoon. Fathers that have like special like spoons even. Like that's how their status is like. Yeah, like they think of women as some bugs, and men is so every single thing is just so messed up. It's a complete yeah. I can't even think how can a country can that be messed up
Mm.
It's like you said, I keep thinking it's gotta be a fictional, you know. If I didn't experience it, like I wouldn't even believe it. Like
Yeah.
that's the truth. Like that's I think why North Korea is the last mystery for humanity solved, right? Like we solved so many mysteries, like this is a one last mystery that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And with our technology that we explored even the moon and Mars and going in the universe, we still can't explore North Korea. And therefore it I think it is time for like, I just always think that people keep talking about, oh, we gotta start civilization in Mars, like you gotta be multi-space, like a species we gotta be. And like we haven't even explored the North Korea, our own Earth yet.
Yeah.
Like how can we move forward as a humanity if we left behind 25 millions living in a 14th century lifestyle? Like it's and these 25 millions is not even by their free choice they are doing that. They've been kept by this dictator. They've been imprisoned by this dictator. It wasn't their free will. They've been oppressed by a dictator. And I think that's what I keep trying to do, that because most people don't know what is happening to North Korean people. And I am doing everything I can to raise awareness, educate the public, and hopefully I can free those 25 million people.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that. Like, what is your hope to happen for North Korea, and like, what would you hope to happen, and in what kind of way? Obviously, you're spreading the word, but what are you hoping to happen from spreading the word?
Well, I mean, there are a few things like practical changes that I want to see when it comes to North Korea. One is global awareness. Like we are so aware of Holocaust, right? Every single one of us know what it is. But in 2013, the United Nations did a massive study on North Korea, and they came to the conclusion that what is happening in North Korea is a Holocaust, modern day Holocaust, because North Korea does the same thing, like do the live experiment on human bodies with their chemical weapons, with their own citizens.
Yeah.
And they said the only resemblance we can find in our history is like a Holocaust. So it's happening again. And of course, when Holocaust was happening, we said it didn't happen, but history repeating itself. So we are going through the same cycle of people saying not interested in denying it. So I think that's what I really want to raise awareness about, like what is happening in our case of Holocaust, and we gotta stop. It's our moral like duty to stop it as a human beings. How can we allow this? And second is like I do want to see the global action through the world leaders, like the US, UK, EU. I mean, all the leaders in the world have to help North Koreans to remove the dictatorship. That doesn't mean like driving up the tank like what Iraq invasion did,
Mm.
but it only simply takes China. China has been the main supporter of North Korean dictatorship.
Right.
So if we convince China to not like selling North Koreans, and do not support the Kim Jong Un, it has no power to stay longer. So that has come. And the lastly is really, people to understand like our little voice matters. Like people think, oh, talking about it doesn't matter, but it really, really matters. Especially in the age of social media, right? As soon as we talk about something, even think about the Me Too, the hashtags. Like that's how much power that individuals have in free world. When we talk about something, even social media, the politicians gonna listen to us. And that's how every leader movement starts right now in this age of internet.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
That's my goal. Like I really want to see this global movement try to free North Korean people. And how wonderful that be. Like so many people are fighting for animals' rights. And when South Korea, I didn't even know what that was. And people like I was looking this massive campaign where celebrities are crying and showing sad videos of animals. And I was asking, what is that? Is this like animal rights campaign? And I was like, do you know that like 25 millions of human beings in North Korea do not even know what human rights is? And it's a tragedy that of course we gotta fight for animals. I'm fine with that. Of course we gotta fight for like gender equality, climate change, everything that people vegan, fine, go ahead, like fight for like, you know, all of that. But it's just how somehow so much like anti-human, like human in sentiment in the world right now, right? Like people are so more willing to cry and do something for polar bear than a draining human child or young baby being sold in China right now for $300.
Yeah.
And I think this is gonna be a forever mystery for me, like why people are so not passionate about human beings, themselves being a human being. Like that's the thing. Like imagine the world like where nobody's free, all of us are oppressed. Then like who will fight for us? I know certainly that animals not gonna fight for us. Robots not gonna fight for us. It's us can fight for us. And that's why like caring about human rights for somebody else isn't mean like that is something you do for yourself, your children. Like this is the only thing that humans can do for each other, freeing each other. So when we are not free, they're gonna help us to be free.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Animal rights, and they forgot about human rights. But that is so true, though. So true.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just wow. I'm amazed. Um, I is there anything else that you would like to share? I think I covered everything that I might have wanted. Is there anything else? Any surprises you have?
Grateful that I'm grateful for that you do in the world to help us feel achieve our goals. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm also very honored to be interviewed by you and on your channel. And I hope that more people be aware and join me in this movement. Like I have a YouTube channel, and if they come there, they can really learn about how they can get involved and how they can make a difference when it comes to North Korean human rights issue.
That's
So
awesome.
I really hope that more people take action and join this movement.
Yeah, and what's your YouTube channel? What's the name?
It's called The Voice of North Korea by Yeomni Park. Yeah, so if they just search like Voice of North Korea, they're gonna find it.
All right, let me note that down.
Yeah,
Awesome. And you're on Instagram as your name.
yeah,
So
Yeomni Park.
how do you say
Mhm.
your name again?
Yeomni Park.
You're on me. You're on me. You're
Yeon YEONMI. So Yeonmi.
Yon me.
Yeah,
Right.
thank
Yon
you.
me Park. Okay. Are you on Twitter at all?
I'm on Twitter. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like Yeonmi Park NK. Like N
Okay.
is yeah, North Yeonmi Park, North Korea. Same thing.
Okay. Also, I didn't know you was on Twitter. I'll have to search you up and follow you on there.
Yeah,
Um,
you there.
yeah. Awesome. Do you have I don't know, like maybe a charity or something for people to fund your work or anything like that?
I do have, but if they find me on my YouTube channel, I have a Patreon. So
Patreon.
that's yeah, that's how I get help and keep creating contents that is helpful for the
Awesome.
people to be aware. Yeah, but other than that, also I can give people's recommendations for the NGOs that are working on this issue.
That's
So
brilliant.
there's tons of things they can do to make a difference.
That's awesome. Yeonmi, thank you so much for your time. I feel blessed speaking to you, knowing this information. I definitely want to get this out there and hopefully we can make a big difference to this world, you know?
I am so grateful for that your passion and care. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you very much for being even caring about this issue.
Oh, of course, what the
Yeah,
human race is very important, you know?
that- yes.
Thanks again. Thanks again. Oh man. Thank you so much. You have
Thank you.
a blessed day. Have an amazing day.
You have a good night. Sweet dreams.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.